Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Okay, so if you've been watching my videos, I've made a few references to wanting to do a butterfly journal, which I think is going to turn into a couple butterfly journals, given how many ideas and things I want to make. But today we're doing some prep work for butterfly journals. So I've die cut all the things. I spent like, I don't know, a couple hours, 3 hours yesterday on my couch with my die cutting machine on the tray table and my pack of scraps of watercolor and mixed media paper. Just die cutting a whole bunch of stuff that we are going to spend today's video inking, and we may do some butterfly clusters at the end if there's still some time, or this may just be a prep work video. So that's what we're focusing on today, some prep work. And I wanted to do some black because I also have I have the mica spray stains and the distress spritz, which looks really cool on black, and I thought some black butterflies that sparkle would be really kind of cool. And I got a little bit of inspiration for this from Luise Heinzl, because she's doing a two-part video that both parts will have aired by the time I do this video, where she was dyeing die-cut flowers to show you how she does her layered flowers. And so she did something that I was like, oh, that's a good idea. She used a container that she put her die-cut pieces in and sprayed into, and then shook them around to get them inked up, which I think might be a faster way of doing it. So that's what we're going to be doing, and I'm looking at this thing going, I think it's dirty, so I need to go wash this. I'll be right back. All right, so let's move some stuff out of the way. I've got butterflies and I've got flowers, so we're going to do some of each, and I'm planning on doing a rainbow of colors for the butterfly journal, so we're going to do a rainbow of dyeing today. So let's throw in one of those. And that guy. And some of the little butterflies. So yeah, I have got a variety of butterfly dyes that I just went to town die cutting out. So that one in, that one in. All right, let's start with that. And like, I'm pretty sure I've got like little bits in here that are pieces that didn't get die cut out all the way. So let's start with pink. So I'm going to use a little Kitsch Flamingo spray. I've got Kitsch Flamingo Oxide spray. So, whoop, dot of that. I've got picked raspberry. And then a little bit of Lindy's Stamping Gang Flat Fabio, and this is Plumeria Pink. Do a spritz of that. Put the lid on, and I'm going to make sure the lid's on all the way, and shake them around. Get these guys a little wet. And maybe put a little bit more of each color in, just a little bit more. And then we're gonna do some more shaking. Take a look. Ooh, okay, so shaking it around did break that swirl. Let's grab my tweezers. But I think some of these are good and some of these probably need some more shaking. Like that can go out. And I've got just some inexpensive aluminum baking sheets, and I'm putting wax paper on them because I noticed when I've used wax paper when I'm dyeing stuff to protect my surface, it will take up some of the ink, and so hopefully we'll get some cool colored wax paper when we're done. Ooh, see, that's the right side, and that did not get inked at all. Maybe I just need more ink. Ooh, that guy got crumpled up. Wrong side got inked on that one. Let's just kind of smush it around in our little container. That worked. I don't know that this is necessarily the best option for really delicate die cuts, but we're gonna keep at it and see what we get result wise. Now, in addition to the die cuts, I want to ink up some fabricy bits. So I got these guys. Oh wait, before we put those in, I find, actually, oh, very scattered. Let's do a couple of flowers too. I have a feeling this is not going to work great for a lot of the delicate pieces that I cut out, but you know what? We're just going to see what we get, because we can always just use them as accent bits. Oh look, I threw the dye in there. All right, let's spritz them with a little water. And add our colors. This one's probably good, yeah. Okay, if we've got some white spots on some of these, because I can always add more ink when I go to use it if I feel like it needs more ink, or just use the backside if that's got more ink and I like that better. To be neat and not get my fingers all inky, but let's face it, that's gonna happen. All right, so next what I want to do is I've got fabricy bits that I want to dye. So we're gonna start by wetting them, because I find it works better if they're wet. So I'm gonna throw those in. I've got some, I think I'm okay, pink cheesecloth. I do have a couple pieces of lace that I wanna do. My desk is gonna be soaked when I'm done with this. So we'll just toss that in there. I got another piece of lace. Maybe I should just hold it over the container and maybe direct the... And then I've got flowers. Where are they? This guy. And this guy. Let me just double check. Oh no, I do need a piece of pink seam binding. So let's throw this in as well. All right, everything's nice and wet. And we're gonna add see how this goes. Looks like the seam binding might be really well done. All right, I'm gonna grab a glove, and in case you're wondering, I was opening a packaging of X-Acto blades and stabbed my finger, and so I put the Band-Aid over the top and then wrapped it with like that wrap to keep it on. So I don't want to get it all messed up or really get my hands as dyed as they will get doing this. So for seam bindings, if you want it to be crinkly, what you do is you wad it up into a ball and set it aside to dry, all wadded up. So that's what I do to get my crinkle seam binding. And I use, if you can find it, because I haven't been able to find it on Amazon lately. Granted, I got the 100 yards, and so I usually do a yard of a color at a time, and I've barely put a dent in this because it goes all the way to the center. So, but it's Hug Snug seam binding, and the color is chalk white, and it works great for dyeing with your whatchamacallits, distress inks. All right, I think that's going to be very pale, and I think I'm okay with that. Let's smoosh a little more ink on it. Set that aside. This one definitely needs more. This could probably use a little bit more, and these guys I want a little bit more on. So, and I think I want to go spray stain and maybe a little of the Lindy Stampin' Gang. And I'm just going to add a little bit more water. Shake those up again. That one I am gonna wipe up the ink on here with. Set that aside, and then I think the lace is pretty darn good. Set that aside. That looks pretty good. And that one. All right, that's pink. Let me grab a napkin so we can clean that out. So I'm using, these are from Decorative Napkins, where I separated out the decorative part, and I recently did a video making collage fodder or collage sheets using this stuff, and I figured why not use it for cleanup, and then later on I can stamp on it. So that cleaned out our pink. Oops, just got to be careful not to rip it. Although that can be solved when you glue it down, but use it to clean up the pink from this container before we switch colors. And I'll set this off to the side and let it dry. And we've got a tray of pink bits and bobs, although I'm probably going to end up doing more pink later. It's kind of one of those, let's start off with just a few and see where we end up kind of thing. All right, next up we're going to do some yellow. And I literally only have mustard seed and squeezed lemonade distress oxides in yellow because yellow is not a color I use all that often. Let's do some butterflies. We'll just throw the flowers in as well. See if it does better if I put more pieces in. That goes good. All right, I think I need to get out another tray and I'll be right back. A few of these need more, like that needs more. Yeah, you could use some more. All delicate and using the tweezers is taking me way too long. These guys I'm going to toss back in and spray a little bit more. And I forgot that what I wanted to do when I finished with the pink was to do the black with the spritzes, and yeah, so we'll do that next. What we're gonna do first is our yellow fabricy bits. All right, I definitely don't need any more yellow seam binding because I've got plenty of that. I knew that. I double checked my stash on that and went, ooh, I have a lot of yellow. Putting the glove back on because I really don't want multicolor fingers today. I'm gonna crumple it up so that if there are white spots, hopefully being crumpled in against yellow will, as it dries, cause it to be less white. Now what I need is some stuff for going on black. Okay, so let's toss in a few black pieces. Let's do that guy, a few of those. And I will try and leave a list of what I'm using down below, but I'm using so many different dyes, I may not get them all. All right. Don't need a ton, like I don't suspect I'm going to use a ton of yellow, but we're gonna do 2 rounds. First round, we're gonna use the spritzes. So this is Squeeze Lemonade. Point it in the right direction. And then Fossilized Amber. And I know we've got oxides in here, which will impact the color some, but I'm okay with that. That guy still needs some more, but these guys are gonna have a lovely yellow shimmer once they're dry. The one thing with the spritzes, it's kind of hard to see while they're wet how they look, but once they're dry, it's so cool. I think we're just gonna spritz into there a little bit. And I think that's good. We're just gonna pull those out. I don't think they need to be shaken up. Now I'm gonna grab a piece of black lace and toss that in with the spritz because I figured out that the spritz looks really cool on black lace. So we're gonna do both those colors. Then we're gonna shake this around. All right, I'm gonna set that one aside to dry, and let's toss in a few more pieces in black and do the mica spray stains on it. I've got Harvest Moon and Flickering Candle. Ooh, lots of sparkle. All right. I'm not going to bore you with watching me do all of the colors because, yeah, it's going to take a little while. And it's pretty much going to be the same process for every single color. I'm going to do the white pieces with oxides and sprays that I have. I'm gonna do black with spritzes and oh, that one did not get the right side. So let's just roll it around in there. Mica spray stains. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all the rest of these and then I'll come back once everything is dry and inked. Does this beautiful rainbow of colors make your heart as happy as it makes mine? I so love a rainbow palette of color. Even if some of these are colors I don't use as often, like I tend to lean more, you know, your blues, teals, purples, greens, like those colors tend to be my go-tos. Except in the fall, then I'm all in on orange and a little bit of yellow, and red I tend to drift towards Christmas. And I love coral, but I don't use it as much, or pink, but I love a rainbow of color. I just love having all the colors. So this makes me so very happy. A couple thoughts on the whole process. I'll be honest, I found using the little bucket and shaking the die cuts in it to take a whole heck of a lot more time and effort than I think is necessary. I think it's a lot easier to just ink up a piece of paper and then die cut it than to do this. So I don't know that I'd use it again for inking die cuts. Although for the last group where I got really like, I just need this done, I kind of tossed them around in with a lot of ink and then just dumped them out. So I did get some cool effects like on this leaf where stuff fell on top of it. Of course, this is the back side of the die cut and that's the front side. So maybe if I did it that way, I'd do it again. But honestly, I think it's faster
and more efficient to ink a piece of watercolor paper and then take it to your machine and die cut it than to do this process. I did like it for coloring the fabric stuff though. That I think might be a little bit easier to do for the fabric bits, because it worked really well for doing that. And so just so you can see, this is my crinkly seam binding. So it gets kind of a uneven coloring when you crumple it up. But that's great for journal toppers. And then in case you can't see, I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but this is the black lace with the spritz on it. And I clearly missed a few spots in some places on that. So that's really kind of cool. It gives it a nice little shimmer. I'm hoping it's showing up on camera, that there's sparkliness to it. So that just adds a little bit more interest to your black lace. So yeah, I got all the colors. I'm so happy I have all the colors. So that's going to be all for today, since the weekend kind of got away from me and I didn't have a chance to record another video. The making of some clusters with these beautiful butterflies is going to be Thursday's video. So come back for that. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting!